All right, so Airbnb uses a couple modes of technology to help customers and hosts. The first one is an AI system, and that helps improve searches and prevents fraud. It helps match guests and hosts and also installs smart pricing. And smart pricing is really important because it helps the hosts know what to charge for the night. The program takes into account things like lead time, market popularity, seasonality, and booking history. So if a guest books a room, the night before they're supposed to arrive, the host is going to charge more for that, and the smart pricing program takes that into account. The last thing that Airbnb uses is the natural language processing system, or the NLP system, and that's supposed to improve reviews and create a more advanced search for guests looking for a host in a specific location.
The sharing economy is a term originally coined by the open source community, and it means the sharing of goods or services from person to person instead of business to person. It's also called collaborative consumption. There are three examples: rideshare, crowdfunding, and house renting. Rideshare is where personal owners of cars will give rides to different people. The biggest companies that do this are Uber or Lyft. Crowdfunding is an alternative to asking banks or investors for funds, and it can really be a big help to small businesses especially. They use websites like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or GoFundMe, and you can ask for funds for various reasons, oftentimes without the expectation of being paid back. The third market is the housing and renting, often called the couch surfing market. And this allows hosts to provide extra rooms to travelers or even long-term guests. Extra rooms, extra houses, sometimes even buildings. This giant market fights against hotels, and it helps create extra space during peak times, as well as expanding just the options in general in this housing market. Airbnb is the biggest company that does this. They're the dominant force in this sector. They have 4 billion listings in 191 countries across the world.
So we're going to list 4 ways that Airbnb has competitive advantage in its market. One way they have competitive advantage is through their user data. User data collects a customer's preferences, a customer's history, what they've booked, where they live, how much they spend on rooms, their browsing history. Airbnb collects users' data when they sign up through Facebook, for example. They have a list of their friends. And information like this can help find inventive suggestions about where their clients will book in the future. And the main goal of data collecting is so Airbnb can leverage their advantage and keep a lifelong relationship with the customer while also addressing problems within the company. Another one of Airbnb's competitive advantages over the hotels, for example, is their price. For a hotel, the average cost of a room in New York City would be $245. An apartment on Airbnb would cost you $180, and a room on Airbnb would cost you $105. So as we can see from this diagram, renting and using Airbnb is a lot more affordable and allows you to have more flexibility on your budget.